Right, let's keep on moving. This inheritance dispute isn't going to solve itself. Is there anyone who is on top of the Marquesses, or do we just hope that they all remember they're all part of the same nation? I mean, sure, it's a fantasy world and all that, but since we're at least somewhat diving into politics for this country, I'd like to know if there's an overall federal government for the Federation or not. She doesn't want to threaten it, which makes this entire conflict just a bit more forced. Still, I've seen more nonsensical over the years. I could have sworn the pre-mission stuff said we'd already left this town. As always, I'll take your word for it. It's not like the player is allowed to see this place bustling with commerce and various other activities. Are those supplies that the player will get to use, like fresh blades, bows, and spellbooks, or is it stuff like food and tents that the game doesn't want to bother the player with? Does that mean Lundgren is going to absolutely fuck up that alliance as he tries to assassinate Lynn? The chapter title is Blood and Pride, after all. I don't know, we kind of feel pretty secure in terms of combat ability at this point in my opinion, but I suppose more couldn't hurt, especially unnamed grunts that we don't have to worry about potentially losing. Really wish I knew the characters well enough to say if them constantly shitting on Sane is fair or not, but most of what I know about these characters is how they handle themselves in battle, where their personality quirks and how they mesh with one another doesn't really matter all that much in this game. Speaking of battle, it looks like trouble has arrived in this quiet city. Excuse me for not feeling all that concerned. I'm more concerned about what the green-cloaked guy up north is doing. That's certainly a distinct sprite compared to everyone else. Why would she even feel the need to question things when she already knows her uncle wants her dead? It should have been fairly obvious that the closer we are to our goal, the closer we get to danger. Anyway, time to meet the man who will replace Will for the most part. There's not really too much reason to still have a regular archer when you've got one on horseback. At best, the ones on foot can mount something like a ballista, while the cavalry archers can't. But since ballistas haven't been introduced to us yet, it's probably not really worth thinking about. But then it's also not really worth thinking about replacing Will, since it's not like the game is going to have us choose who gets to be on the field just yet. That's going to be further down the line as our ranks get even larger. And what makes you think you were mistaken? Hell, Why should it matter where she came from? Someone was trying to kill her. I'd be more than a little annoyed if one of the garrison in this town didn't try to help her. What parts of the castle are on fire here? And if they're burning food stores, they might be intending to turn this into an extended siege to try to delay us from getting to Kalen, or pissing off the local Marquis to go against us. But then with the sheer number of enemies our crew can take it down, besieging the castle probably wouldn't go so well for them anyway. Though they're still gonna be acting like bandits for the most part, and I'm sure their tactics aren't really going to be changing much from the bandits that we dealt with before, but at the very least I can appreciate that we've got fewer axemen to deal with, and we're going to be dealing with more swordsmen and spearmen for the moment. As a side note, why are you even bothering to question this, Kent? We want to help the local Marquis. It'd be a little tough for him to help us if he gets killed by this assault. And as Lynn says, we're kind of responsible for what's going on here, even if we never intended for the town and castle to be assaulted. I wasn't aware anyone was asking you to abandon her. Let's save those curses for those that will be alive when we're done here. Why do we never get asked that sort of question in all the houses we enter? It's just such an obvious question for NPCs to ask as you enter house after house in so many different games. It's become a bit of a joke. Anyway, this guy looks way too distinct, so there's a good chance he's either going to be recruited or going to be a recurring enemy. And since we've yet to see any real recurring enemies yet, yeah. Oh, you don't get to insult his vulture behavior when you're accepting money from him. I'm pretty sure at least some of that money might have come from him looting the dead. Can't they at least do something to help defend this town? Not that there's all that much to make things feel all that chaotic right now. Turn-based games just cannot pull off chaos unless they have cutscenes, and the console this game was released on just cannot handle pulling off cutscenes of really any kind. Again, the enemy is in the town as well. I'm pretty sure the Marquis and his guards need to be concerned about the safety of their civilians, not just the castle itself. Well, that sounds troublesome enough to be the entirety of the mission. I was hoping that Wrath would say that he's got the keys for the locks. He's the captain of the guard, right? Shouldn't that be one of the things he absolutely needs? Why the hell does the game feel the need to reiterate our objective when we just got finished with the conversation where we were told what that objective is? Sure, it's not as insultingly handholdy as the tutorial bits, where you're forced to move very specific characters in very specific ways, while we get quite a bit of text explaining why we're doing these things, some of which reiterate things we already know, or why some of those moves might be bad moves or something like that. Well, we're not going to see any of those times where we're unsure if we keep getting told exactly what to do so many damn times. Come on, give me the freedom to make my own mistakes. We're already pretty familiar with visiting houses. We were introduced to the idea back at the 3rd mission of the game, and we are starting the 7th mission now. I'm pretty sure that the kid gloves should have worn down some more by now, if not be outright removed. Well, he's certainly not ashamed to admit he's a thief, though considering this dialogue earlier, it feels a bit off that he's offering to be hired by us. Don't question it, Lynn. We have seen a very obscene amount of convenient crap as we've gone from mission to mission. That doesn't mean anything since we don't know what your normal rate is. We really haven't done enough in this fight yet to warrant you making a decision. One guy from the other side showed up and got killed in a way that I'm not even gonna bother putting his death on the scoreboard. And I'm reasonably sure we're gonna be outnumbered once we're actually allowed to start commanding our forces out here. As much as I appreciate the utility Matthew gives us, the way he was brought into the team could have been better, but then it's not like the story around here has tried all that hard to be all that immersive here. It just does the bare bones basics of what it needs to do and then moves on. There's nothing offensively bad at any point, but if you aren't a fan of the gameplay in general, then this isn't the game for you, and is not all that likely to bring in a whole lot of converts. It's, fine, not absolutely horrible, but I can't help finding that since they released so many games in the series as Japan-only titles before this, they might have wanted to put a better foot forward for their first international release. Maybe that's just me, though. And it's not like they really could have known how any particular game would be received outside of Japan without actually releasing them. Right, so it's not enough to have someone walk a path that goes over one of those pressure plates. You have to stand around long enough for them to drop down. Though thankfully, you only have to wait one turn. It's not like you have to force your guys to stay in place for the entire rest of the mission just to keep the triggers activated. It's a small mercy, but I'll take what I can get. May as well get Dorcas to get closer to the action, even if he's not going to be able to hit anyone just yet. Well, that's understandable. People getting sliced apart in the streets does tend to make the customers a bit nervous. Yeah. We've already had that explained to us twice in a 5-minute period. Well, I appreciate the fact that you have one, though again, I'm curious why Wrath didn't have any, considering he's supposed to be the captain of the guard in this town, and its associated castle. Yeah, go ahead and soften him up for us, Zerg. at this point, both of our ranged guys are just softening the enemy up for the melee guys to have less chance of being counterattacked. Another kill for Florina then. She's not on the top 3 scores of the team, but she's certainly getting close, considering she's supposed to be pretty fragile in comparison to Lynn, Kent, and Zane, and she's been dealing with so many damn axe users despite using a damn spear. Okay, there's definitely a lot fewer of the enemy out here than I was expecting. I'm sorry, are we honestly outnumbering the enemy out here, huh? I'm just incredibly used to so many games and so many genres outnumbering the player side in various battles that I'm not really sure how to respond to this, really. Poor Dorcas here is just 1 kill away from ace status, but he might not even get the chance to get that 5th kill in this mission. Not with the way things have been looking for us so far. I probably shouldn't feel all that annoyed that things are still this damn easy for us, but frankly, in many ways, this mission feels easier than the ones that came before it, and those ones were pretty tutorial heavy. Hell, I'm pretty sure that Sarah's gonna get a little bored in this mission, since there's not gonna be anywhere near as much need for her to heal us as last time. Sir, you are talking to a staff user. Outside of allowing us to equip more advanced weapons, I'm not sure how the weapon skill thing works in this game. But again, I've never been able to hold my interest in this game long enough to get to the credits before. So I'm sure there are aspects of the game mechanics that are specific to this game that I just plain did not grasp as well as I probably should have. Hopefully, LPing this game will motivate me to go all the way to the credits, even if part of me would prefer to be doing some of the later Fire Emblems instead due to their better storytelling. I wasn't gonna say no. I've looted so many dungeons and corpses over the years in so many games that it's not a moral quandary for me. If the game wants to make this guy come across as more morally dubious than anyone else on the team, they're gonna have to do a lot better than this. Seriously, there are very few games where the player ends up giving all that much of a damn about the property rights of anyone when it comes to various items, especially when there's a battle going on around them. I'm really looking forward to the point in this game when the hand-holding bullshit just plain stops for good. I would have done that a lot sooner if the game didn't feel the need to explain the concept of looting a chest from someone who's done a good number of role-player games. Hell, just how much shorter would this mission have been if we didn't have to deal with the tutorial stuff, period? How much shorter would all the previous missions have been if they just skipped over the tutorial stuff? Because it honestly feels like the game has been stalling us out more with text boxes than actual gameplay. And that feels like kind of an iffy way to pad out a video game like this. Sounds like good advice, at least, but I suppose it's not my choice who gets that kind of item just yet. Yeah, that definitely is good advice for what it's worth. Well, that sounds like either Lynn or Florina should get to use it. Lynn feels a bit more likely for me to use it since I have more of an emotional connection with her character than anyone else in this campaign so far, and I somehow doubt that's gonna change. said it before in a previous mission, but it's worth saying again. There had to be better ways to convey the important information in this game than how they're doing it. Ways that didn't come across as insulting the player's intelligence and ability to retain information. As much as I respect the fact that this was the first game in the franchise released outside of Japan, and that the audiences absolutely needed to be taught from the ground up, a lot of the informational text we've been getting has been reiterating things we read in a previous text in the same damn game. Okay, not much we can do over there since Dorcas has the key for it, and it's probably a better idea to have Matthew stay up here since there's another locked door. Okay, I think we should send Florina to another house to visit. It's not like there's too much else for her to do. He doesn't really make that a secret. He hates the nomads, but Kent somehow didn't learn that from his conversation with him before the mission started? Yeah, here's hoping that doesn't lead to trouble for us later on, but there's no way it's not going to end up being important. It's just making me actually smile a bit since we had so many convenient things go our way earlier on. As annoying as it probably will be for our heroes, it's still something I can more easily digest than the orphan with no family somehow having a royal grandfather she never knew about and gaining a mystical sword that destiny demands she gets when she just casually arrives to pay her respects to the cultural artifact early in her journey. If he doesn't want the stench in his city, why is his captain of the guard very proud if taciturn nomad that dresses and speaks as a nomad instead of trying to hide his background in any way? Oh god, no. Please don't tell me said lover is Lynn's mother. That's just giving him more ammunition to be a spiteful, bigoted prick. Probably could have been in trouble there if that spearman had gone after Matthew, considering how my troops are arranged right now. This is not a very optimal positioning for our people here, but again, there are less enemies than I was expecting. Anyway, it looks like this clip is gonna have a very abrupt ending. Hope nobody minds waiting for the next clip before this mission is done. Okay, looks like Wrath can kill this guy and avoid Matthew having to fight him at all. And that counts as Wrath's first kill for our forces. Again, his pre-mission kill before we gain control of him does not count. Huh. I was expecting another pressure plate in there, and not a chest to loot. Guess we're ending the turn without moving anyone else for a while. Okay, that makes 3 kills for Urk right now. Now, if only I knew why I'm hesitating to pull the trigger when it is 100% chance for Urk to kill this guy. Was I considering getting someone else the experience points of taking this guy down or something? And Kent is gonna head towards the other entrance, while Sane is gonna step on the pressure plate here. It's only 1 health point, but at least we're giving Sarah something to do right now. I just find it interesting that she gains just as much experience points healing a small paper cut as she does healing someone from borderline death. That one more is gonna have to wait for next time to avoid this turning into a half-hour-long clip. Yeah, Lynn is definitely gonna need that iron sword more than Florina is. Always a nice feeling to get Florina a kill on an archer. And she's certainly turning into an anti-magic tank, not that the enemy's been using magic against us just yet.